Most people think burnout is loud, that it looks like crying in the bathroom, snapping at your boss, or quitting your job in a blaze of frustration. But the truth is, burnout often starts quietly. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it doesn't collapse, it erodes. And that's what makes it so dangerous. I remember watching my friend Nina go through it. She was the kind of person who always showed up, reliable, sharp, emotionally generous, but slowly something shifted. She stopped laughing at jokes. She stopped offering ideas in meetings. She didn't complain. She didn't break down. She just evaded, and no one noticed. Not her manager, not her team, not even her closest friends, because she was still functioning, still performing, still fine, but inside she was hollowing out. That's silent burnout. It's not about being overwhelmed. It's about being emotionally emptied. You still go to work. You still answer emails. You still smile when someone talks to you, but you feel nothing. You lose curiosity. You lose joy. You lose yourself. And the worst part, you convince yourself it's normal. It often begins with emotional flatness. You're not sad, you're not angry, you're just blank. You wake up, go through the motions, and end the day without feeling like anything happened. You might laugh at a joke, but it doesn't land. You might hear good news, but it doesn't move you. It's like your emotional range has been muted, not because you don't care, but because your brain is conserving energy. It's trying to protect you from further depletion. And in doing so, it shuts down the very signals that make you feel alive. Then comes the loss of curiosity. You used to be the kind of person who asked questions, who stayed up late researching random topics, who got excited about learning something new. But now, everything feels like a chore. You skim articles instead of reading them. You avoid deep conversations. You stop wondering. It's not that you've become lazy. It's that your brain has stopped reaching. Curiosity is a sign of mental vitality. When it fades, it's a warning. Social withdrawal follows, not the dramatic kind. You don't slam doors or ghost everyone overnight. You just slowly pull back. You stop replying to group chats. You cancel plans with vague excuses. You say, I'm just tired. And people believe you, but it's not physical exhaustion. It's emotional depletion. You're not avoiding people because you dislike them. You're avoiding the effort it takes to be on, to perform, to engage. And the more you withdraw, the more isolated you feel. But reaching out feels impossible. Then there's identity fatigue. You start asking questions you didn't used to ask. Who am I outside of work? What do I actually care about? Why does everything feel so flat? You feel like a machine, efficient, productive, but not human. You hit goals, meet deadlines, and check boxes, but you don't feel connected to any of it. You're playing a role, not living a life. And when you try to reconnect with yourself, it feels foreign, like you've forgotten how to be you. And then, almost without warning, resentment creeps in, not the explosive kind. Micro resentment. You start feeling irritated by small things. A Slack message, a meeting invite, a compliment. Someone says, great job, and you feel like screaming. Not because they did anything wrong, but because you're carrying too much. Your brain is trying to tell you, I'm done. But you keep going, you keep pushing, and the resentment builds quietly until it starts coloring everything. Actually, even the things that used to light you up start to feel dull. You hit a goal, finish a project, get praised, and it doesn't land. You say thank you, but inside, it's flat. That's reward numbness. Your brain's dopamine system is worn out. It's not that you don't care, it's that your system has stopped responding. You're not lazy, you're chemically depleted, and when wins stop feeling like wins, it's hard to stay motivated. So you start escaping, not in dramatic ways, just little rituals. You scroll, you snack, you binge, you open apps without knowing why. You avoid tasks, you avoid decisions, you avoid yourself. These aren't bad habits, they're survival mechanisms. Your brain is trying to protect you from more stress, but the more you escape, the more disconnected you become. And eventually you forget what it feels like to be fully present. Ironically, some people respond to burnout by doing more. They become hyper functional and they say yes to everything. They take on extra projects. They become the go to person. From the outside, they look like high performers. But inside, they're terrified of slowing down, terrified of being forgotten, terrified of facing the emptiness. Hyperfunctioning is burnout in disguise. It's not strength, it's fear dressed as productivity. And then there's the final layer: emotional detachment from your own success. You succeed, but you don't celebrate. You finish, but you don't feel proud. You move on to the next task like nothing happened. That's not discipline. That's shutdown. You've trained yourself to keep going no matter what. But in doing so, you've lost the ability to feel your own progress. You're not just burned out. You're emotionally disconnected from your own life. Silent burnout doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides behind routines, responsibilities, and roles. It convinces you that you're fine until one day you realize you haven't felt joy in months. That's why it's so dangerous, because it doesn't ask for help. It just waits for you to disappear. But here's the truth. Burnout isn't a failure. It's a signal, a message from your brain saying, I need something different. And the solution isn't just rest. It's reconnection. Reconnection with your values, your creativity, your curiosity, your voice. You don't need to quit your job or move to Bali. You need to remember who you are beneath the performance. Start small, 10 minutes or of silence. One question you actually care about, one boundary you hold, one moment of joy you let yourself feel. Burnout doesn't reverse overnight, but every time you choose presence over autopilot, you start to heal. Most people will hear this and keep pushing. But if you're still here, you're already shifting. You're already choosing clarity. Subscribe to the inner shift. Every week, we break down the psychology truths that help you reconnect, rebuild, and rewire your mind. Because burnout isn't weakness. It's a wake-up call.